But if you ask me in real life, do I walk around like I'm the best rapper alive? No, nigga.
Cole, why? It's official. This nigga J. Cole fucking sucks. It's bad enough that this nigga actually dresses up like a substitute teacher, but he's also just one of those pick-me motherfuckers who doesn't know if he wants to be one of the greatest rappers or just want to be one of those guys who raps. It's kind of fucking annoying.
Like, so if I'm taking on a rap persona, like when I'm rapping, of course, that's what I like to. That's how I like to rap. And guess what? Sometimes I hit the mark and I say shit and I spit a verse that really might have you believe in that shit. But if you ask me in real life, do I walk around like I'm the best rapper alive? No, nigga.
Cole has decided to bless us with a lot of different interviews talking about his experiences with the fallout and how his process came, and also just backlash from his apology and beef and all these things. And in the mix of these conversations being had, I sat down and listened to nearly all of his interviews to formulate a genuine conclusion of how I feel about J. Cole as a rapper and as an MC. And there are a lot of things that are very difficult for me to comprehend. He decided to put the cat out of the bag and proclaim that he is not his favorite rapper. He is not the best rapper in his own mind. And this is something that is very interesting. In another interview, he did state that he is his own favorite rapper with Nadeska, and also being set down with Apple Music, where he talks about how he has fallen in love with his music again and how he's become his own favorite rapper. But in the reality of things, he has proclaimed that he does not feel he is the greatest rapper, which is a very, very crazy sentiment to say, being one of the biggest rappers of our generation. And why this is such a big deal is when you hear him proclaim and talk about his, his power in the industry, not only in the industry, but just his, notoriety from all of his projects and all of his music that he's been doing over the years. It feels weird for a person in this position to even say something like, he's not the greatest rapper. Even if this is fake, and I get it, I understand. Having that clarity of saying, hey, most people don't necessarily think that they're their own favorite rapper or anything like that. I understand this, but the mystique of a rapper is to feel like you are the best MC. And the weirdest thing about J. Cole is he is so, some may say humble, some may say dumb, but he just cannot come to terms that, A, people don't want to hear that you think that you're not the greatest rapper, because his fans will beg to differ. And B, you don't get brownie points for saying that other rappers are better than you. Even if we know that is true, we don't want to hear that from you. That's something that we dictate. And I understand that some people might feel like I am over-embellishing in the shame and the weird ritual that's going on with J. Cole as he's kind of unveiling himself and showing that he is not necessarily as into his own work as his fans are. I just feel like it is kind of a spit in the face for the people who ride and die for a J. Cole. And I get it. Some people might feel like, he's being real, he's being 100, he's being honest and all these extra things, but this is just a stupid move all around. Even if I am one of the least known music creators or music content creators, if I didn't feel like I am doing my best and I feel like I am one of the best on the platform, then what's the point of me even doing it? And I feel like sometimes when we are doing our own things, we don't necessarily love our own work. And sometimes when I hear J. Cole talk about and lament how he is not the best rapper in his eyes from time to time, it just really reinforces the way that we kind of talk about ourselves in negative light. I'm not even going to sit here and say that J. Cole is a horrible rapper, because he's not. I'm not going to sit here and lie and talk about why I might think that he is lesser than the people that he might have chose to explain who's better. It's just that if me as a fan, as a music listener, is saying and having these conversations, that's perfectly okay. As the artist, you should be well within your right to think that you are one of the greatest or the greatest. This is something that is pretty regular. Every rapper thinks that they're the best rapper. You should have that type of ego. And I completely understand that J. Cole, his whole image is being real, is being honest, but this is just weird. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's a stupid move. There's just so many things that's happening with J. Cole that's making me not like him even more. And it kind of makes me feel like he's just lame as fuck. And I don't understand why an artist that is so accustomed to not being in the public eye not only gets in the public eye and talks and downplays his own music in order to get some type of sympathy points from the people that really rock with him, but he keeps doing it. In the whole beef, when he says, hey man, I have to apologize, this is me in my heart, I felt like it wasn't the right thing, we all understood it. But then he tried to justify it, saying not only, hey, look, this beef was stupid and all this extra stuff, I'm also going to say on multiple different tracks, hey, this track, these songs, these MCs that's beefing is so dumb, but I can also beat them lyrically, while also saying that they are better rappers than him. Where does this even make sense? Where does this even go at this point in life? Like, what are we talking about? And it really irritates me, because J. Cole is a good enough rapper to have this bravado of saying that he's one of the greatest, that he is his own greatest rapper. I am perfectly okay with any rapper saying that. But when J. Cole wants to be respected and then backtracks and say he doesn't want to be respected, and then he says that he's one of the greatest rappers, but then he says I'm not one of the greatest rappers because there's other people better than me, it's kind of like a thing where it's just like, okay, we get that you're trying to be real and you're doing this whole rap facade, but what was the point of even entering the beef knowingly as a grown person, and then also being like, I don't even care about the label of being the greatest rapper? Like, I get the ego and all this extra stuff, but it's such a dumb move on his hand. Like what's the point of all of this? I feel like there is just so many things that pisses me off about J. Cole and his decisions with even the album and how his process is. It doesn't make that much sense to me. To me, it doesn't make any sense. Even his role in the beef that is so played out at this time, I don't even care about it anymore. But even his role in the beef, he has no context or no information about anything. He is in the dark just like us, and it doesn't make any sense to me, because again, you are the person who dropped a track about the opposing team in your eyes. How do you not know any of the context of the beef? Where were you? He talks about like being on the beach and whatever after the apology and all this extra stuff. It's just kind of like bleh. But enough with the beef. Let's just talk about the album. The album, he explains that it took him 8 years in order to create this project, and how it was really weighing heavy on him, and he had a really bad experience with the album process and all these extra stuff. These are information. This is information that was very, very important to me, because I did feel like this album did have a lot of things banking on it being better, banking on it being more interesting and something different. But when he explained that this is an album for his fans, it makes way more, it is made way more clear why this project didn't rub me the right way, and why a lot of people feel a certain type of way about this project, because it's for his fans, and I completely get that. But also him then talking about his process and wanting to make this project a longer and more inclusive and more impactful, and how it took him such a long time to get all of these things wrapped into this beautiful bow and why it's so long. It just makes me angry because he is tooting himself on the back while also making the same type of project. He even says it himself in the interview with Nadeska. He says that, hey, a lot of these songs are not of my POV. This is POVs of other people that I have interacted with inside my city, inside these places. And when there's such a disconnect from the actual music that he's making, and there's a disconnect with the way that he is approaching these tracks, it just gets super dull. And this is my main problem with this last project that he dropped. The Fall Off doesn't feel like a J. Cole album. It sounds and hears and plays like a J. Cole that is explaining everybody else's situation without him actually getting into the nitty gritty of what's going on with him, because his experience is so nice and so lavish and so, you know, unproblematic that he doesn't feel is interesting enough to make it into a project. And that is why The Fall Off just feels so lame as a project that you listen to and that you can go back to and experience, because it's just kind of blah. There's nothing there. And even when I hear these interviews and I hear him explain the situations and everything that's going on with him and the beef and all the context, it just feels like he went way over his head and done some stupid shit that he couldn't go back and fix. There are still beefs going on with him. There's still situations that he ruined just because he not only had no intention of actually getting the understanding from both parties or understanding what's going on, but he chose to leave it all behind just because he felt unsafe. And that is one of the biggest problems with J. Cole. J. Cole has no personal stake in anything. And so it is very hard for me to respect anybody who feels the type of way about me being so harsh on his music. He doesn't have any personal stake in rap, it feels like. How he explains things is like a, you know, it's more so like an actor being inside a movie that he doesn't necessarily have personal stake in. This isn't something that J. Cole is actively searching for or wanting to be. He doesn't want to be one of the greatest rappers, and that's okay. Just be a rapper. But when you propel yourself to this higher form and you feel like you're a bigger artist and you need to be this, that, and the third, and then things doesn't go your way, and the moment it doesn't, you run and say, hey, you know what, just because it's not received well, I am going to go this way and that way and that way and that way. I lose respect for you. So yes, I think J. Cole is lame.